All right, James, the Idol Smasher at yahoo.com. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in. Biblical biblical literalist. That's what I've been called recently by a fellow Noachide, a couple of them. And this blows me away that it would come from a Noachide. I understand why it can be frowned upon in taking the Bible literally from a translation of a translation of a translation of a translation, which is a lot of what we deal with today. And even when you directly translate the Hebrew scriptures into English, it's considered a commentary because you have to understand the Hebrew language. It reads more like a code or more like a chemical language than it necessarily would English, although there is a definite flow and a storyline, and it can easily be translated, but still you have to know it from the Hebrew first, which Noachides like me don't. We came from a Christian background where we look at the King James Version and went from there. Even in the New International Version and other things, it all goes back to King James in the end. And even some like the JPS that translated into English today still have nuances of Christianity in them to some extent. I've seen it, or to the Christian translation, not necessarily Christianity. And I always like to look at 3 different translations from Hebrew anyway, just to get a better understanding. And why I'm still learning Hebrew today is so that I can better understand Torah from Torah's perspective. Okay? Why should a biblical literalist be a bad thing amongst Noachides, considering we don't even understand the literal translation or the literal meaning or even the literal words of the Torah? If we don't learn the literal definition or the literal message or teaching first, you can't go any deeper, which is the great thing about Torah, which you have a really, 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 really hard time doing when you look at it from a Christian and sometimes even a Muslim perspective. There is, and maybe not Muslim because I think that they look into the Quran a little deeper, but when you look into Torah, it's a forest. Once you look, it's just an endless. There's always something there, and it's full, and it's dense, and it's jam packed, full of goodness, and just there's a lot more to it. But if you don't get the literal meaning first, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? When God says "do not murder," does He mean "do not murder," or should I not take that literally? You see what I'm saying? Why should that be any different for the entire rest of the entire teaching? And there's my 3-year-old with her fun toy she got for her birthday. So I'm having a hard time with this. It's bugging me. It's kind of eating at me. So I want to put this out there, and maybe if you can get back with me, maybe we could do a hangout or whatnot, or leave a comment, question, suggestion down there in the suggestion box, the comment box. Of course, hit that subscribe button. I think that's about all I wanted to cover today. Why should I not take it literally first? As a Noachide, I understand a lot of religion and looking at the Bible literally can quite often not be literal. And we call it, he's a literalist. Well, maybe not, But as a Noachide, shouldn't we go to the literal first? Shouldn't that be primary? Fundamentally, shouldn't we get level 1 down before we can move on to level 4? That's all I have to say. Help me out here. James the Idol Smasher at yahoo.com is my email address. This is American Noachide Raw. Peace.